Using the latest in high-performance computing, scientists have begun to explore questions that until now have been too large or too complex to simulate on a computer. With Sequoia at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, researchers exploring grand challenge problems are generating results at scales never before achieved. Sequoia is the first computer to have more than 1 million processors, and its design makes it unique among supercomputers.
Sequoia is one of the fastest computers in the world. It has 1.6 million processors, 1.6 petabytes of memory, and a peak performance of over 20 petaflops. The Sequoia system is connected via a Torus interconnect, and this is very different than our traditional network topologies. Usually you have computers connected to a switch, and then if you want to communicate to another computer, you always go through this switch. But in Sequoia, the nodes are only connected to their neighbors. If you want to talk to a node that's not immediately your neighbor, you have to pass that message through a neighbor.
We expected the 5D torus on Sequoia to present something of a challenge, given the fact that, for one thing, 5 dimensions are difficult to visualize and to think about. And the thing we found with the 5D torus is, in fact, the extra dimensions appear to give enough latitude in how messages can be passed. A bottleneck that we used to see in terms of the maximum extent across the torus has really been limited and reduced.
In order to exploit Sequoia's parallelism, you have to use at least 3 million threads. There are 1.6 million processors, and every processor needs to be running at least 2 threads to get the most out of this machine.
The hardware provides so many interesting challenges and interesting capabilities. For example, some of the synchronization hardware that got built into the machine makes it possible to use threads in a way that we can't on any other machine because the overhead would just be too great.
Sequoia, as you know, is a fantastic achievement. It really is in many ways a marvel of modern technology, and the engineering design that's gone into the actual nodes provides a tremendous number of advanced features that give us lots and lots of promise.
Although these scientists will discuss 3 different applications, they face the same challenges of writing and running simulations on this landmark system.
So on Sequoia, we were asked to do a demonstration project that would show what kinds of science you could do on a machine with this kind of computational power. Rather than take on our typical material science problems, we decided to take on an electrophysiology problem. The challenge in electrophysiology simulation is with the existing hardware and the existing codes, it's only possible to simulate a very small number of heartbeats, maybe 10 heartbeats in a reasonable time. We wanted to be able to take this problem with the power that Sequoia provides for us to a place where you could simulate thousands of heartbeats and get a much broader picture of the kind of behavior that the heart actually undergoes during an arrhythmic event.
QBox is the lab's first principal molecular dynamics code and is used to do predictive simulations of materials in a range of conditions. We tend to particularly focus on the conditions for which experimental data is either very hard or expensive to achieve or is simply not able to be achieved.
PF3, or the parallel F3D, was the second generation, or the massively parallel version of this laser plasma interaction code, which was designed to be able to study what happens when a laser, very high power, goes through and interacts with a highly energized plasma inside something like a NOVA Holram or a NIF Holram of today. It's never been a case that the laser plasma codes have tried to run the biggest thing they can. It's always been a case of trying to run the smallest meaningful thing that we can to get the physics that we actually want to analyze. So, the real problem that we'd like to run is significantly larger than anything that we would have been able to do on the machines that have been available up until just even now, today.
Sequoia really represents the next generation of supercomputing in the sense that up until now we've been able to exist in a very homogeneous world where we treat every task in the same way, and we can use MPI to manage all of our communication. And Sequoia is fundamentally heterogeneous, and I believe all supercomputers past Sequoia are going to be fundamentally heterogeneous. So we had to write our code with an awareness of that heterogeneity in the sense of having a hierarchical parallelism where Our MPI was only the first level.
These simulations require people that understand the hardware at the very deepest levels, but also people who understand the physics and the mathematics. Because in order to optimize these codes, it's not enough to just turn compiler switches. You have to adjust the algorithms to the hardware.
Running on Sequoia is fundamentally very exciting, simply because we're not only at a scale that has never been reached before, but we're running in a manner that we can tell is going to be how all supercomputing is going to be done in the future, but it's the first time we've ever really had to do it to get good performance.
The change that I've observed is 5 years ago, the lab had the only supercomputer on the planet with 100,000 cores. Now that's becoming ubiquitous. Supercomputing is reaching out into a much broader array of society than just science, and it's changing the way we think about so many aspects of our lives. It's changing the way we do business. It's changing the way we connect with each other as a society. HPC is going to do far more than just change science. It's going to change the world.